Welcome to News Today, a PodNu service. Today is Wednesday, March 23, 2022, Central European Time. Before today, Rishi Sunak had a lot of work to do. He gave his long-awaited spring statement today, March 23. When Sunak went to work, he had to deal with problems that hadn't been seen for 30 years. His mini-budget was supposed to deal with things like rising fuel prices and the war in Ukraine. The Chancellor announced a number of changes to help businesses and households across the country, including a rise in the national insurance threshold and a 5p cut in fuel duty, to help businesses and households across the country. That's what the Chancellor said. Aegon Pensions Director Stephen Cameron said that the spring statement for state pensioners was not what they had hoped for. Pensioners received little in the way of good news from the Chancellor in his mini-budget. There was nothing new in the way of temporary support specifically for this group, and no improvement on the 3.1% increase in the state pension from next month, which is just half the current rate of inflation. Added to this, those above state pension age don't pay national insurance on earnings, so won't benefit from the £3,000 increase in the NI threshold. Continuum, an IFA firm, says that the rise in the NI threshold will not help pensioners very much. Chartered financial planner at Continuum Ben Alcock said, "The 5p cut to fuel duty and the increase to the Household Support Fund will also help many households struggling with the increased cost of living but will do little for the many pensioners that may be particularly vulnerable to inflation." With the suspension of the pension's triple lock, many industry commentators were hoping for additional measures such as a temporary increase to the state pension rate to help pensioners with the unprecedented rise in their living costs. Managing partner at Continuum Martin Brown added, "The spending power of pensioners has also been impacted by soaring inflation. This morning we heard how CPI hit a 30-year high at 6.2% in February with the prices of food, utility bills, and petrol all on the rise. Pensioners may be particularly vulnerable to inflation due to being reliant on pension pots which need to last them 20 years or more." Former Pension Minister Steve Webb also said, "If you're a pensioner who doesn't drive and isn't planning to install solar panels, the Chancellor's package of help with the cost of living isn't going to much for you." She is the managing director of Standard Life's Customer Savings and Investments. Jenny Holt said that the Chancellor's decision not to change the frozen pension lifetime allowance will hurt savers a lot. Holt said, "Given the more immediate pressures on many households, particularly in relation to energy prices, it would be surprising if the Chancellor had changed tack with the lifetime allowance freeze. The unfortunate reality is that the lifetime allowance punishes an increasing number of people for doing the right thing and saving, and long-term it's a limit we would like to see scrapped. This will make more people eligible for auto-enrollment." Standard Life Managing Director of Pensions Colin Williams says this is a good thing because it will make more people eligible for auto-enrollment. Williams said, "One policy that didn't receive much attention in the Chancellor's speech was the increase to the national living wage. That will take effect from April 6 and apply to those aged 23 and over. The increase in earnings from £8.91 to £9.50 is worth around £1,000 to those working full-time, and will help with the cost of living squeeze. An additional bonus is that anyone working 21 hours a week or more triggers the £10,000 earnings threshold, at which they must be enrolled into their workplace pension. While people must pay into their pension unless they opt out, they will also benefit from at least a 3% pension contribution from their employer, which is a significant incentive. We would encourage the Chancellor and the DWP to go further with auto-enrollment and in time, remove the £10,000 earnings trigger so that people have the option to benefit from pension contributions regardless of income. The same applies to the current age limit of 21, which we think could be reduced to 18. Providing people with a longer time horizon to build their savings." Andy Curran, the CEO of Standard Life, said that the government's plans for guidance and financial advice were not included in the government's plans. Curran said, in the run-up to the budget, it was rumored that the Treasury was planning to consult on the definition of guidance and financial advice. We are disappointed that there was no further mention of these plans today, as we believe change is needed. The majority of savers are taking crucial decisions without any professional advice or guidance. IFAs are the gold standard for advice, and pension-wise is valuable. However, they are constrained to talking just about pensions. We know that at least 50% of people approaching retirement plan on using assets other than pensions, which adds complexity and the need for advice or guidance. Urgently addressing this growing problem will require us all to play our part. We stand ready to work with government, regulators, IFAs, industry, and consumer groups to explore solutions so that everyone gets the level of help and support they deserve.